Could it be? Me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to another Louie T Network exclusive blockbuster deal as we continue our wall-to-wall coverage of the 2020 NFL free agency frenzy here on the Louie T Network. What a day it's been, and the fireworks just keep going. Blockbuster deal between the Minnesota Vikings and the Buffalo Bills. The Redskins tried to pry Amari Cooper away from the Dallas Cowboys. He ultimately goes back, and we talked about this earlier tonight. He wants to stay in Dallas. He's made it abundantly clear. He does not want to leave Dallas. He wants to spend the rest of his career there. The Redskins tried feverishly to get him away from Dallas. He ultimately decides to stay in Dallas as the Cowboys ink a 5-year, $100 million deal with Amari Cooper, making him a big-time free agent fish for the Cowboys. And it's really a double whammy of sorts because, one, you're keeping him, and two, you're keeping him away from a divisional rival. So that's a great job by the Cowboys to keep what's theirs. And the Redskins also, in the whole scrum of things, kind of gets lost. Kendall Fuller, the prodigal son, returns home. 4 years, $40 million to come back to the place where it all started for Kendall Fuller. So it looks like the Redskins, and I told you the first big move for the Redskins would be a cornerback. I thought it would be Kendall Fuller, and it is Kendall Fuller. I've been hearing his name more so than any other, and it just seemed to be in the Redskins' wheelhouse, $10 million per, which is the number that I kind of threw out there tentatively. I think I put him at 8. But I said it's anywhere from 8 to 10. I don't think they're going to spend any more than that on the cornerback position. And so there you have that. But let's get to this Stefon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills trade. What a deal this is. It's amazing because Redskins fans have been clamoring for this deal to take place for some time. But instead of the Bills being the recipient, they wanted the Redskins to become that team. It did not happen. Remember, this Buffalo Bills team was in the market for a receiver last offseason. Remember, they were literally on the doorstep of pulling the trigger on the Antonio Brown to Buffalo deal with the Steelers before Brown essentially vetoed the deal himself by saying he didn't want to play for the Buffalo Bills. And so the deal was pulled off of the table. In any event, this is a monster deal for both teams involved. Let's start with the team getting the player in the Buffalo Bills, forking over a first in this year's draft, along with a 5th and 6th from the 2020 NFL draft and they'll be giving up a 4th round pick in 2021. That is a massive haul. However, for the quality of receiver you're getting here, you cannot understate what he is going to do for this Bills offense that I thought was lacking a true number one. And although John Brown stepped up and assumed the role of number one wide receiver last year, he's number one in this league. He's no one's number one. He is a number 2 in this league. And now with the addition of Stefon Diggs, everyone is properly slotted in that Bills wide receiving pecking order. Now you don't have a number 2 pretending to be a 1, and you don't have a number 3 pretending to be a number 2 in Cole Beasley. Now you have a true number 1 in Stefon Diggs, a true number 2 in John Brown, and a clear and definitive number 3 in Cole Beasley. That is a hell of a trio there. The only thing the Bills are really lacking at the receiver position now is some size. All of these guys are 6 feet or less. You'd like to add in a little bit of height. Maybe they do that via the draft. They still have picks in the 2nd and 3rd round and things of that nature. But we'll see what the Bills decide to do. But one thing's for certain. They looked at the draft and they said to themselves, we're not going to get Jerry Jeudy. We're not going to get CeeDee Lamb. We're not going to get Henry Ruggs. And when we look at the rest of these receivers, are any of these guys that we can get late 1st into the 2nd, possibly 3rd, are any of these guys better than Stefon Diggs right now? The answer for them, emphatically no. So they pull the trigger, bring in Stefon Diggs, give up 4 picks in the process, 3 in this year's draft, including their number 22nd overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. their fifth, their sixth from this draft as well, and next year's fourth, to really bolster what is a strong group now all of a sudden, with John Brown as your number 2, Cole Beasley as your slot, is your number 3 option. Don't forget about Devin Singletary, who I love, told you about him last year in the draft. And also another guy that I was madly in love with his game at the tight end position in Dawson Knox. This is a very dangerous Bills offense with the addition of Stefon Diggs. They're going to be fun to watch. And I love their quarterback, okay? I'm a massive Josh Allen fan, have been since his Wyoming days. Thought he's going to be a really good pro. He's showing us that, all right? You know how I feel about Dawson Knox at the tight end position. You know how I feel about Stefon Diggs. And you know how I feel about Devin Singletary. This is a Bills team that made the playoffs last year, lacking the kind of firepower that could put them over the top. You add a Stefon Diggs, and all of a sudden, this is a dangerous team in Buffalo. He wanted out. He got what he asked for. Don't know if he necessarily wanted to go to Buffalo or not. That's of no consequence. That's where his ticket has been punched. And now Stefon Diggs is a Buffalo Bill. Now you look at it from the other side, the Minnesota Vikings. I think they had gotten to a point with Stefon Diggs where enough was enough. The subliminal and cryptic tweets just seemed like time after time after time, he kept crying wolf. The Vikings would go to him and he would say, nah, nothing wrong here. And then they would say, you sure? Nah, I'm good. And then he would cry wolf again. And eventually they got tired of him crying wolf. They got tired of the headache that he was starting to cause, and they shipped him off. Now, what does it mean for the Minnesota Vikings? This is a team that was strapped for cash to begin with. This is a team that's trying to kind of maneuver themselves and reinvent themselves on the fly. You move on from Xavier Rhodes. You re-up with Kirk Cousins to free up some cap space so you can franchise tag Anthony Harris. This is a team that's trying to continue to stay afloat on the move. This deal is going to free up some space for them. But also, the extra first-round pick gives them the ammunition they need to not only replace Stefon Diggs, but maybe attack another position now. Maybe receiver was always something they were going to potentially take a look at. And now, because last year with all the injuries, the receiver group was less than stellar. Now you're able to add in a young, hungry prospect at the receiver position. Probably with this pick you get from Buffalo because it comes first before your first round pick a few picks later. And I think with that second pick, it's I don't think they're necessarily in the market for a corner, but they've never been shy. Mike Zimmer has never been shy of taking a late first round corner. They've seemed to have done that for years upon years. And they may actually need to do that. Mackenzie Alexander, I think if he's not a free agent, is going to be one soon. They just got rid of Xavier Rhodes. And so they've got some decisions to make on the back end of that defense. But now they got extra ammunition in the first round, 2 first-round picks. They've got multiple picks at the back end of the draft. If they need to position themselves to come up and get someone, they've got a couple of 5s. They got a couple of 6s now. So they've got ammunition to move around and be a little bit more flexible. Maybe if they want to move up, say in the first round, and they want to go up 2 spots, it may only take an additional 5th, a first and a 5th. They can throw that extra 5th they got from Buffalo into the deal, and they still have their own 5th. So it now gives them flexibility in the draft, but more importantly, it rids them of a headache. And now they're in a position to replace him with another young, talented receiver. If there was ever a draft in which you wanted to get rid of a headache at receiver and try to get another guy to come in and replace him, it's this draft in 2020. They're going to be an assortment of guys available, and you never know. A guy like Justin Jefferson could drop right to the Vikings at 22. And all of a sudden, you move on from one big-time receiver and add another one. There are going to be plenty on the table there to be selected at 22. If you pass on one then, there'll be plenty more still available a few picks later when you're now on the clock with your own pick. And then you get to the second round, and there'll still be more guys available. So the Vikings put themselves in a position to not only replace Stefon Diggs with this first-round pick that they gained from the Bills, but also to improve their cap situation. And maybe this was a good thing for the Vikings. It didn't seem like it in the moment, but you pick up all this draft capital, you move on from a guy that was starting to become a headache, you free up a little bit of cap space, and now all of a sudden, you've got an opportunity to do what the Vikings do best. Say what you want about the Vikings organization and Rick Spielman. They don't go out, they don't spend a lot on free agents. It's never been their thing under Rick Spielman. But what he's always done well is he's always drafted exceptionally well in Minnesota. And now you're giving a guy who loves to draft more draft capital. I think it's a win-win for both teams. It's going to sting in the initial stages, especially if that rookie doesn't come in. And the Vikings have whiffed on first-round receivers before. Need I mention Laquan Treadwell? Okay, so it's no home run. It's no lock that they just replace a guy that has been a walking 1,000-yard machine for them since he's entered the league in Stefon Diggs. It's no guarantee that they get it right with this first-round pick if they decide to go in that direction at receiver. However, with the amount of talent at receiver in this year's draft, it's going to be hard to mess this up if you're the Vikings. And I'd like to think that they're going to find a way to replace Stefon Diggs and move forward with this move. But whoa, what a deal. Bills have gotten better on offense, exponentially better. The Vikings, I think, are in a much better spot from a draft and a cap situation after this deal. So let's go to the comment section and see if we have any comments quickly before we get out of here, and see what you guys have to say about this move. Just another blockbuster deal on what has been a crazy blockbuster day in the National Football League. So we have a couple of super chats. The first one is from Daily Grind. Daily Grind, thank you for the super chat. And he writes, Dallas Cowboys. Let's pull that up again. It went down. He says, Dallas sends Dak Prescott a huge slap in the face. With the Amari Cooper deal, it seems that way. You know, a 5-year, $100 million deal. If I'm Dak, it's getting old now that everybody but me is getting paid. Everybody but me seems to be getting to the number that they want. I have a number. I have an amount of years that I'm looking for. Cowboys want 5. I want 4. Everyone seems to be getting what they want except me. And I will say this. Everyone else is signing 5-year deals. You want a 4-year deal. That's a problem for the Cowboys. And unfortunately, the two sides cannot agree. But something will get done. I firmly believe that. Meest703 says, thoughts on Will Fuller will play slot, free safety. Either one of those up for grabs. You know, I think the Redskins will try slot first because that's the harder position to fill. And he was really good at it when he was in Washington the first time. If he comes back and he's not the same guy, he's not able to play the slot the way that we need him to, free safety is also an option. I thought he did some good things with the Chiefs there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Thank you for the super chat, Meest703. John Perez, my man JP, with the super chat says, Kendall Fuller back to the Redskins. Yes, indeed. Thank you for the super chat, JP. I'm excited, as are most Redskins fans. Figured that was going to take place. I talked about it earlier today, and voila, here it is. Told you guys to relax. Take a breath. Be easy, okay? Breathe easy. Ainsley Chance, or AC, my man AC, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate it. AC says HTTR. So, let's see. Let's read a couple of comments. Devin Gonzalez says, I really hope we use those 2 first-round picks to trade up and take a big-name tackle. So that's another position of need, obviously, for the Vikings, is offensive tackle. And a guy may fall to them. Highly unlikely, though. You know how the tackles go in the NFL. They get pushed up just like quarterbacks do. And so that could be what the Vikings decide to do with both of those first-round picks. You know, package them up to go up and get a offensive lineman. If I were them, I would personally try and do the same thing I did with Brian O'Neill, and get a guy in the second round and hope for the best. I don't know if O'Neill was a second or a third. I might be thinking of the other Pitt product that didn't work. I think he might have been a second round pick. I might have my Pitt tackles mixed up, but in any event, I would roll the dice. If a guy there that I like, maybe the USC tackle is there at the back end of the first round, and I think he will be, Jones. I would take him with my pick, but if I'm the Vikings, that first pick is going to be spent on a wide receiver. Just go ahead and get it out of the way. And there's a lot of value in this draft. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Get yours out of the way while it's there to be got. Andrew Olivero says, in Terry, we trust. Gemini says, what's up, Louie T? Damn, the Bills got Diggs. Yes. Yes, they did. Atlanta Fan 21 says, honestly, a lot of wide receivers in the draft that could be better than Diggs. Lamb, Judy, Ruggs, Jefferson, Chenault, maybe a couple of others that might end up being better than Diggs. That could be the case, but of those guys you just named, Lamb isn't going to be available at 22. Judy's not going to be available at 22 or the pick that the Vikings hold in this draft, which is like 24, 25, somewhere in there, 26. Ruggs isn't going to be available at either one of those picks. Now, you get into an interesting territory with Jefferson. I think he could be gone by then as well. Just depends on how many teams pluck receivers by then. Chenault will definitely be there. T. Higgins, a lot of those other guys will definitely be around at 22. And it's up to the Vikings to decide if any of those guys fit a need there or not. But if I'm the Bills at 22, none of those guys that you mentioned, with the exception of probably Chenault, still on the board at that point. And you're right. All of those guys could end up being better than Diggs. But that's the roll of the dice. And at this juncture, you're looking for production in guys who have proven already that they can do it in this league instead of waiting for guys to get in the league and prove that they can do it on a consistent basis. After you've done what the Bills did last year, which is threaten to win the division, make the postseason, go on the road, should have won that game, dominated the first half, pissed it away in the second half. After you've seen what you're capable of, you feel like one or two pieces here and there, another solid draft, and we've got a chance to really make a power move. The Patriots are reeling. They're on the ropes. We make a couple of moves. We have a strong draft. We may be able to put these boys down on the canvas for good. And so you're not looking for a rookie to come in and help you with that. You're looking for an established veteran to help you, and that's what Stefon Diggs is for the Buffalo Bills. I don't blame them for going after it. Scared money don't make money. Rob the GOAT says, do you think we have a more active day tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the Redskins signed 3 guys today. I mean, I know it wasn't the 3 you were looking for. One of the 3 was a guy you're happy about, but they signed 3 players today. 1 of their own and 2 outside the organization. So I don't know how much more active you want them to be. They signed 3 guys today. The Martin family says, any Redskins report tonight regarding Fuller and possibly Demarius Randall to the Skins? I'm thinking about doing a Redskins report. I'll see if I'm able to squeeze it in. If not, I'll wait till tomorrow. That's probably more likely what will take place is tomorrow. We'll wait to see if the Skins make any other moves. And we'll probably have a Redskins show live tomorrow. Just depends on how many moves are made outside of the Redskins and whether it's worth me doing a live stream encompassing all fans of other teams, or if I need to just have a Redskins live feed or not. We'll see. Let's see. Craig Smith says, Cobb to Houston. That's a good move for them, especially after losing Nuke. And after Amari got $100 million, there wasn't any money left for Randall Cobb. So I never thought that all of those guys would be back. I thought it was one or the other. And they chose Cooper, which is the smart move. And so Randall Cobb to Houston. Thank you for that one, Craig Smith. That was a signing I was not privy to. So a lot of moves being made And got another super chat. This one from Daily Grind. Thank you for the super chat, Daily Grind. Double up. For my man, Daily Grind. With Fuller in the bag, who's next for us? Boston? I don't know. Because we don't even know what position, and I think we'll find out more information. We don't even know what position they have in mind for Fuller. Whether someone brought up free safety, which is what he played with the Chiefs a lot of in 2019. He could be he could be kicked back inside to the nickel, which is what he did for us the first time. Wow. And I can tell you right now, Believers Talk, good to see him in here. That Stefon Diggs deal is a very affordable deal. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty in signing a guy and getting that long-term deal out of the way, is because 2-3 years down the road, that deal looks like a steal. You know, think about what Amari Cooper just got. 5 years, $100 million. He's on a 5-year, $72 million deal. Like, it sounds so good. It's a good look for the Buffalo Bills. And he's young. He's going into the prime of his career. Hopefully he and Josh Allen are able to make beautiful music together. I'm really loving this move for Buffalo. I really am. And so with that being said, that's going to do it for this live stream of the Bills acquiring Stefon Diggs from the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for a 1, 5, and 6 in this year's draft and a 4 in next year's draft. In addition to Stefon Diggs, the Bills also receive a 7th round pick in this year's draft, but really that's of really no consequence at this point. The headline here is Stefon Diggs, and if you're a Bills fan, you've got to be elated by this move. I mean, let's be frank. Yeah, you want your 1st round pick, but Stefon Diggs is your 1st round pick, and he's an established 1st round pick at that, and still very, very young, going into the prime of his career. Got to feel good about this move if you're the Buffalo Bills. And if you're the Vikings, you know, look, he didn't want to be there. And you shouldn't want a guy that doesn't want to be there. Now you have draft capital to play around with, 2 firsts, a couple of 5ths, a couple of 6ths. You know, you got some flexibility now. You can make moves up and down the board as you see fit. You free up some cap space. I like the move for both parties involved. Obviously, if you're the Vikings, you would have loved if Stefon Diggs remained a Viking, but he didn't want to be there. So you know what you do with guys who don't want to be there? You help them find work elsewhere. Vikings do that, net a 1st rounder in the process amongst other picks. I think it's a win-win for both teams involved. I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. If it's not your man, T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys again tomorrow. Should be another crazy day. I don't think it'll top today's action, but we'll see more movement from players. Maybe a couple more trades. Who knows? Maybe Trent Williams finally gets dealt. We'll see. But a lot of great stuff happening today. The NFL definitely delivered in day 1 of their tampering period. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys tomorrow. I'm going to glide to the side. Enjoy the rest of your night. Like this video. Subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so. Take care. I'll see you guys next time. Stefon Diggs is a Buffalo Bill. Nobody, and I mean nobody, goes out and trades for wide receivers like the Buffalo Bills. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Louie T Network.